All right, today we're grabbing some dumbbells and going over some bicep curls that you probably have never done before, and then a few that you definitely have, but we're going to make them even worse. So if you're ready, let's get after it. All right, let's first go over traditional curls to make sure you're not making the big mistake I see most people make, which is no matter what the cost, they're going to get it up, which is admirable. I'm sure Tinder dates really appreciate that about you, but in terms of growing that bicep, it's not going to do much, because inevitably what happens is as that bicep gets tired and you're trying to force it all the way up, there's no way to get there. So you have to get that shoulder involved. And unless that was your horrible plan from the start, let's try to avoid it. But we don't have to focus on the shoulder. All we have to do is simply focus on where that elbow is. So if you're doing a curl where your arm is right by your side, as long as you keep the elbow tucked into place and there's no movement, it's going to be all your bicep. So then the question is, what should your range of motion be? And my argument is you should push as much blood as you possibly can in those biceps, that as you go through the exercise, it actually shortens. For example, I start out with 3/4 reps because I don't see a benefit in pushing the extreme ends of the range of motion, like the very bottom where you almost have to actively push to stretch, or the very top where there's really not much of a difference in the contraction. So they start out 3/4, but my goal is to push so much blood in there by the second set that they turn into half reps. And that same stretch that you got before, you actually can't get because you can't stretch any further, and you definitely can't contract up any higher because your bicep won't let you. And yeah, you might have a hard time washing your hair tonight or wiping your ass, but it'll just be a lesson of how versatile your garden hose is. All right, next up, we got drag curls. And in my mind, you got some options, because anytime you put a dumbbell on a string and pull back in a straight line, that's a drag curl. So you've got the traditional arm to your side pulling straight up, which is a phenomenal exercise. But for most people, their shoulders are so bound up that it turns into something else entirely. They end up looking like a creep in the corner of the gym, run the risk of getting kicked out. So instead, you can put that dumbbell right to your knee and pull back on a straight line and get a phenomenal contraction. When in doubt, take it to the extreme. Hop on an incline and pull straight up from there. I have no doubt you're going to have a great connection to these, but yeah, you're going to look like an asshole. So if you didn't grow up wearing Jinko jeans and drawing Stussies all over everything, you're not ready for this. So you guys know me, I'm basically a giant 10-year-old. So any exercise that resembles a ride at Disneyland, I'm all about it. And I don't know what these are called, but I'm assuming it's something great, because anything that makes you look like you're having a nervous breakdown has to be named something epic. And I've talked about these before, but I'm also going to show you another variation today that I think is even worse. And the idea is you're actually going to leave that dumbbell in place and mostly work around it. So as you go into that negative, you lean back, put all that pressure on your bicep to hold and stabilize that weight. As you contract up, you barely move that dumbbell, but you lean into it and make that contraction even worse. And they suck. And another way to utilize this movement is with hammer curls. I like to do them standing, but I also like to lock those elbows into my stomach so it's just that bicep working, no shoulders involved. And it's also a great way to make people feel uncomfortable. Just find the closest corner at your gym, go stand in it, and make sure when you're doing them, you look back. Really ups the creep factor. And just in case you didn't feel like that long head's getting enough love, we're going to finish with pinwheels. Now, good way to think about these is just categorize them like a drag curl. That'll help you get your form right. But the idea is you're pulling that dumbbell straight up, flaring that elbow out to the side so that shoulder is turned in, so it's mostly that long head. And as you finish off that contraction, you're going to really drive and cock that wrist out, and it's going to really fuck up that long head. So if you haven't got a chance to check out the 30-day program, I'll link that below. It's 30 days, 20 videos, 20 workouts. It's $20, and you're going to get your ass kicked. And if you like this bicep video, I'll link to another one here. Also another one of my favorite triceps. But most importantly, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and get after it, get growing. Talk to you soon.